Welcome again to Doing It Right. You know what this podcast is about. It's dedicated to highlighting extraordinary leaders who are successful and they've maintained their integrity. They're really good people on the way to the pinnacle. Those are the guests that I love to have. And I have one today, Yuri, pronounced last name.
Diogenes.
Isn't that a great voice, Diogenes? I like that. Wait until you hear what this cybersecurity expert who's written 34 books is going to talk about. Of course, cybersecurity. Stay tuned.
Welcome to our podcast, Doing It Right. This podcast reveals authentic stories from successful leaders doing it right. It's about their journey to become a leader, their choices, motivations, and lessons. In essence, how they built successful personal brands. Your host is Valerie Sokolosky, author of 8 leadership books and nationally known as an authority on executive presence and personal branding. Let's get started. Here's Valerie.
You know, before we start, I really want to thank you for joining me on these podcasts. It means a great deal. For those of you who have subscribed and you watch regularly or listen on the audio platforms, and for those of you who haven't, please do hit that red subscribe button. It means a lot, Google Juice wise. Audience, Yuri was here in 2022. And I wanted him back, and you'll hear why. Welcome back, Yuri. It's so good to have you back in the studio.
Well, thanks again for having me on. It's great to be back and talk about cybersecurity.
That's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
And before we start, just please give the audience a little bit of background. You can say it faster and billet it out of how you even got to the U.S., much less writing 34 books. It started when?
Yeah, it started 2003, so 21 years, going to 22 years in U.S. since I moved originally from Brazil to work at Microsoft here in Texas, and never moved. I always stay in Texas. Actually, I was in Irving, and then I moved to Round Rock because I left Microsoft to work at Dell Computers, and then I came back to Microsoft in 2006, and been working with them ever since.
You must like it.
I love working there. Yes, it's a great company, and I changed roles throughout those years. So now I'm a manager. I manage a team of product managers across the globe. I have PMs in US, in Europe. So it's super fun.
You just got back from what country?
Romania. I was in Romania in November. I'm going again in May. I have a team there of cybersecurity professionals, and I'm also leading a program of women in cybersecurity to really empower women to join this workforce.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Well, you're here today because of a new book that you've written, and the camera is showing it. Tell us about this book and kind of the highlight of it. You're very proud of it, and I'm proud for you. Any of us who have written a book or think you should be proud.
Yes.
Tell us.
And although I have published 34, this one really means a lot because this has really helped a lot of people to create a better vision of how to enter the cybersecurity field. Throughout the years teaching as a professor, a lot of students ask me those questions. How do I join the workforce? What do I need to do? What is the roadmap to get there? Mm-hmm. Or even other people that are in information technology and wants to migrate to cyber. And some people that are doing something completely different. I had lawyers that said, I want to work with cybersecurity. What should I do? So for over the years, I collect a lot of materials. And I was like, I have enough here to write a book. So I put a lot of my experience, 30 years in the IT field and 18 years in cyber, out of those 30, in this book. And also I add a lot of stuff from the manager's perspective to really help the reader to understand what managers are looking for, help them with the interviews, preparation for interviews. So there is a lot of that here.
How to get into it. Well, this is what you're really talking about is career transition.
Yes.
And I make that point because, as the audience knows, and we do too, there's a lot of movement in companies today. I don't know the current statistics of how long someone stays in a job, but probably less than ever. So, to your point, people are interested, many of them, in moving out of something. What is the most interesting place someone has moved out of? You mentioned a lawyer. What's the most interesting past career that someone has come into cybersecurity?
I have examples of even people that finish MD, doctor, that
Really?
moved to cybersecurity, and they are very successful nowadays.
So does it take certain skills and attributes? What kind of a person, I guess, and their attributes makes a really good expert in cybersecurity?
Well, first of all, I think, and this is something that I always talk about, I think you must be passionate about the topic. With the things that are happening in the market, many times people are moved because everyone is going to that direction. Let me also go to that direction. That's very dangerous because, moving towards trends is very risky because maybe when you get there, you realize that, well, this is not really for me. I'm not happy. And I always talk about the importance of fulfillment. You need to have that fulfillment when you are pursuing a career. Cybersecurity brings this fulfillment to me and to many other people because you are doing something good to protect companies or organizations against bad guys. The whole idea is to protect. So there is a fulfillment there, but it's very challenging. Is a field where every day you have something new to learn. So if you don't like learning new things every day, that's a problem because you're going to have to feel good in uncomfortable situations, the whole feel comfortable in uncomfortable situations that I talk about, right? Super important that because you have to admit that you don't know everything, and that's okay as long as you are willing to do your research and to pursue how to address a problem. That's really what you need to think about. So critical thinking, growth mindset, very important attributes.
Okay. What percentage of men to women are in this field now?
Well, it varies according to your geolocation. Here in the U.S., we have a much better breakdown than other countries, I think. And that's really one of the reasons why I started this program in Romania, because I tried to open a position there, and I saw that the ratio was like for every 10 applicants, 8 were men. I was like, this is a huge discrepancy.
That's not good.
Yeah, that's a huge discrepancy. And I said, well, we need to do something to change that. So in contact with a lot of other women at Microsoft in Romania, we created this program. The first class was from June to November last year. That's why I went to Romania also to close the class in November. And now we are running the second class. We are calling Season 2. So it's super exciting because it helps them to identify that they belong there if they want to. And they can have the skills, right? So I think that giving them the opportunity to try something new, identify their potential, and many times you already have some skills. You just don't realize you have. So giving the right guidance, they can get there.
How long every day are you sitting at the computer? Fess up.
Well, I, as you know me from the previous show, I still very active. I will never compromise my physical activity. So I wake up 4:30 a.m. so I can be at the gym by 5. So I work out every day, early in the morning, so that I have the rest of my day to do my stuff.
I want to stop there, and I want you to tell the audience our last interview was all about you losing weight. And that's so interesting today when there's such emphasis on healthcare. Would you kindly share, just briefly, what you did and how you did it?
Yeah, absolutely. Because when I moved to U.S. in 2003, I was very career-oriented. I said, I want to be successful here. I want to learn English and really do well in the job. And I did, but I was that tunnel vision, right? So I was compromising everything around me, my lifestyle, my diet, and family relations, just to be successful at work.
And you've got
as a result, I gained 100 pounds.
Did you hear that, audience? 100 pounds. I can't even imagine because you look super good. Okay, keep going.
So that tunnel vision was horrible for me, and I started having early arthritis on my knees. It was super problematic. So I had this wake-up call that I had to change, and really, by changing my eating habits and exercise, I was able to lose 100 pounds in 1 year.
That's just incredible. How'd you do it?
Well, discipline, because there are days that you don't want to do it, right? There are days that you really want to eat, because think about it, you build so many bad habits that over the weekend everyone falls off when it comes to diet,
sure.
Right? There is always something, social event happening. But I stick with the diet for 1 year, and that was really important to me to create the habit. Mm-hmm. And that transformation changed also my approach to everything, because we talked about this on the previous program, but discipline beats motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline, if you have discipline, you're going to execute no matter your mood. Because it's really good, it's really nice and easy to be high performer when everything is going well. Now try to be a high performer when things are not going your way. That's hard.
That is hard. You gave me so many, last time and this time, so many top takeaways. And one that kind of goes along with this is be comfortable in the uncomfortable. I can only imagine how uncomfortable that discipline was. But take that now and apply everything that you did in losing weight, the discipline and whatever. How did some of those things apply and help you in your role at work?
Well, as a manager, I have to coach and really guide my directs to accomplish things. And there is nothing really happens if you stay on that comfortable zone. You have to push yourself. And when I talk about pushing yourself, is really go a little bit beyond. Even if you feel afraid, do it afraid. Be uncomfortable, right? Because that's how you're going to grow. Mm-hmm. So you have to have this constant feeling that I'm not too comfortable, I'm going to go, I'm going to take the risk. And this also comes, this is interesting because this whole be comfortable in an uncomfortable position comes from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that I also practice.
Interesting.
Yeah. So in Jiu-Jitsu, many times you have your opponents smashing you, and you have to stay calm. You have to stay calm, because if you stay calm, you are able to completely sweep your opponent and reverse the whole game, because he's going to get tired of putting pressure. So if you stay calm, you are able to revert the situation. So that's one of the things also that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu taught me, is to stay calm under pressure. And I think that's an important skill to have, because if you are in a meeting where you feel like everyone is a shark and you are the little fish, guess what? Your level of confidence is going to drop, and you may not even be able to talk. But they are expecting you to be the specialist and present something. Mm-hmm. So you need to be confident, even if you feel like you are not the best resource at that moment. But if you did your homework, you study, and you're ready to deliver, it doesn't matter who is in the room. You're gonna deliver the message.
You know, that's so important. So many of us who had to learn to be in front of a board of directors or present something to the team or whatever, there's always that fear. And Yuri, this is something that I'm going to be vulnerable with you and the audience. As many years as I've done keynote addresses, I still get nervous.
Absolutely, I believe.
And you know what I think? I think that if I didn't, it would show that maybe I'm becoming arrogant, or I'm giving the same speech 10 million times the same way.
No, or you don't care.
Or I don't care. And the authenticity is my word, you know that. That just goes out the window. Mm-hmm. So learn to embrace fear is what you're what you're saying.
Yeah, and I feel the same because, for example, I was in Brazil in October delivering a keynote for the Cybersecurity Summit.
Wow.
And there was 500 people in the audience. It was one of the biggest in South America. And there is that expectation. This is my third year delivering the keynote. Still, I was nervous before I walked the stage, but as soon as I start talking, it gets better, right? But that feel is important. It's super important because it shows that you care.
Yes.
It shows that you are a professional and you preserve your brand. So that's important.
So I am going to offer a tip to the audience, and if you have any tips, I want you to share too. As a presenter, one thing I learned is, so here's this 500 people, let's say, that you're in front of. But if you catch the eye contact of one person that you see smiling at you, that's the one you want to get eye contact with. And in your head, count 1, 2, 3 before you move your eyes somewhere else. Then you make a connection. So those of you who are watching or listening and you have to make presentations, and who doesn't these days, even to a team or your boss, that's kind of, I think, a good tip. Do you have one?
Well, mine is a little bit similar to that, but for example, in this room is kind of big room, and you don't see too many people, right, because of the lights and everything. But I'm not Italian, but I talk a lot with my hands. So every time that I'm presenting, I point. So if I point to the audience, people think, oh, he's talking to me, right? So
yes, that's good.
Even if there is an area that I'm not seeing someone, but I'm going to point. So it's really trying to bring the audience close to you with those gestures and everything. So I think it helps.
It does help. So, just so you know, I teach presentation skills should anyone be interested. Let's keep going. So you emphasized with me about, I don't know if it's in the book because I haven't read it yet, but the soft skills.
Yes.
Now, to me, we have to have soft skills in order to communicate. And what does soft skills mean? What does soft skills mean in cybersecurity? What do you mean?
Yeah, because let's start from the beginning, from the hire manager perspective, right? When you are hiring someone, nowadays there are so many resources that it's easy to train someone from the technical standpoint. I can ramp up someone in a couple of months learning the technical things. Now it's hard to change someone's behavior, someone's character, how they approach problem, how they collaborate with others, right? How they delegate. Those are soft skills that during the interview, you can identify if that person is a right fit for your team. Because when you are bringing someone to your team, it's a teamwork. So that person needs to fit. That person may be a genius, but if that person doesn't know how to collaborate, share their knowledge, be humble, it's going to be really tough for the team to absorb, and there will be a problem, right? So you need to evaluate how that person behave in situations that they don't know something, how they research, and what is their response when they feel uncomfortable. Do they have an open mind and a growth mindset to say, yes, I don't know this, but I will research and I will learn? Or they think, no, I never experienced this, I don't know. Right? Because that's a problem. If the person defeats immediately and says, no, I don't know. Okay, you don't know, but can you learn? Can you grow? Right? What is your capacity to ramp up and learn something new? So that's one thing. The other thing is we live in a world where everyone prioritizes online meetings, online presentations, right? The effect of the online communication is important. And for example, nowadays we all communicate more via text than via this in-person experience, which I love it. But the reality is in companies, they will interact via email, via chat. So you have to have a better presence, and you have to be mindful of the way you write, the way you are delivering a message, because maybe you're in a bad mood and you are very direct, very rude. That's not good, right? Or you go to an online meeting and you don't put your camera on. Nowadays, it's important to be present.
So true.
And to have this body language available for other people to read you. So this is important. So we look at those things. Those things are soft skills that help you to communicate effectively, to adapt, have a faster sense of adaptability because business is changing all the time, so you have to adapt fast. Those are important skills.
That last one is really hits me. You have to adapt fast. Talk to us about adapting to AI and all that brings, because it is so overwhelming to me. It's changing so fast. And now everyone I know is using it to do tasks that I thought we needed our own brain for.
Oh my God, yes, yeah.
So do you mind just kind of getting into that mindset of whether
Absolutely.
it's good, bad, or indifferent?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we have to embrace AI as a technology, as a tool to help us do things. And there are huge potentials on that. I truly believe that is a groundbreaking technology that will help us in many things. But as any technology, it can be used in a malicious way. It can be used to make you a little bit lazier to think because you are fully dependent on that. I teach in 3 universities, and for my students, I will say, look, you can maybe ask questions to ChatGPT and he will tell the answer. But when you go to a company and you have to analyze a scenario,
Right.
it's your own words, and you have to have this mindset of analyzing something and be able to write. So don't rely too much on AI to write for you. So I encourage all my students to use AI as a tool for research, but not to replace what they are doing. They have to think. They have to continue build that logical framework of troubleshooting and researching, right? So that's the important thing. The other thing that happens with AI is a lot of people are hesitant because they feel afraid that AI is going to take their job.
I've heard
Right.
that, yes.
So the reality is it may take in some areas. For example, if you think about that first interaction that you have with tech support to resolve a problem, it may be just AI talking to you, right? I recently was in a drive-through asking my daughter asking for some meal, and I was talking to AI on the drive-through, taking notes. It was incredible. It was great. And actually, no error at all on the order. It was very good experience. But these are the type of automations that will take place, right? But people need to use as a tool. I'm old enough to remember when typewriters were out there, and people were skeptical with computers. Say, no, I want my typewriter. No, you have to learn computers, right? And then the other change was from on-premise to the cloud. People know I don't trust the cloud and everything. I want my computers with me and everything. I don't want to send information to the cloud. Everyone is working the cloud nowadays. Mm-hmm. So the avoidance of the technology is not going to help. You have to embrace and see how you can leverage, right? So again, adaptability. You have to adapt your skills, learn new skills, and then use it.
So much good advice. Looking to the future, Yuri, what trends are you seeing that are shaping the landscape of cybersecurity?
Well, AI is definitely one of those because, as I said, AI can be used for good guys to protect their resources, but the reality is bad guys can also utilize, right? So the threat actors, they are leveraging AI to perform new types of attacks, which is very scary, mainly when it comes to deep fake. There were cases already last year of a completely deep fake person that entered a meeting room to convince the board of directors to transfer money, and it was successful.
Oh, my.
So there is that dangers, right? And you need to be fully aware about this. You need to be very skeptical nowadays also of what you see. Is this really trustworthy? So that's also important. So this is a dangerous aspect. But the advantage is that for the first time, defenders and all the companies that work in cybersecurity, they have also an advantage because they are building systems based on AI to predict patterns of behavior, to predict attacks, and this is really good. This is a advantage for all of us.
So take just average Mary and Joe, and we are at our computer, and we're going our merry way. Because this happened to me, what is something to never click on or be very aware of? In other words, things are coming so fast, those of us that are getting a lot of emails every day. Is there any piece of advice to help us not get in trouble, I guess?
Yeah. First of all, the basic security hygiene is very important. When I say basic security hygiene, is ensure that your system is up to date. Every month, when the Windows is asking you to reboot because there are updates, do it. Don't postpone it, right? Because those are secure updates that needs to be in place. Make sure that your anti-malware that you have installed in your system is up to date as well. When it comes to email, most of the biggest email platform like Gmail, Outlook, they do have anti-spam and technologies to prevent. But here and there, a spam or a phishing email will pass through, and it's up to you to be skeptical. So the general recommendation is if you receive an email that you don't know where it's coming from, and there are links for you to click. First of all, don't click any link. You can just put your mouse over the link, and you're going to see the URL, right? For example,
good advice.
Yeah, because, for example, let's say you receive an email for your bank. The header of the email says it comes from the bank. But if you put the mouse over, you're going to see a URL that does not correspond with the bank. So that's an easy way to immediately detect that this is a phishing attack, and you can just delete. Or you can right-click on the email and send to the junk mail or report also. But never immediately click. I think that this is the most important thing. Always be skeptical to look to the URL. If it corresponds to the sender, because sometimes the sender is spoofed, for example.
Thank you for that. I will remember that for sure. What if you are, well, maybe I should just ask this. You're with Microsoft, of course, and you'll have maybe a prejudiced view of this. But what are some of the best security platforms, would you call them platforms, to download on your computer so you're safe?
Well, it depends. So when you say platforms, because, for example, if you think about Windows 11, which is the main operating system that you probably have on your laptop, it already comes with anti-malware. It already comes with a lot of built-in security capabilities, part of the operating system. And of course, yes, I'm biased because I'm Microsoft, but I think that security is not only about the technology, it's about your mindset, it's about how you behave, it's about the sites that you visit, the places, the places that you go, right? How you configure the settings of your browser to not have cookies enabled so that people start grabbing information about you. The social media that you visit, the people that you connect with, because nowadays there's a lot of social engineer type of attacks via social media, right? Yeah. It's someone that is create a fake profile and try to connect with you. Do you really know that person? And sometimes public people like you, they're like, oh, let me expand my network. But always be skeptical, because sometimes the person that is trying to connect with you does not even exist.
Wow. It can be scary, but I'm not going to let it be scary.
Of course. We should not live in fear.
No. One other thing I loved that we talked about before we go is you said, be ready. Be ready for opportunities. Yes. They will knock. I loved that second part. They will knock. How many people do we know, including me once in a while, that an opportunity comes and, oh, I shouldn't look into that, or I don't have time to do that. What in this chaotic world where there are a lot of opportunities, what would you say to someone that is, let's say, young and ready to get out and conquer the world? opportunities come.
Be ready.
Be ready. So what's ready look like?
Yeah, because I love this mindset because it has been my entire life this way. When I left Brazil, I was not expecting this invitation to even apply for the job. I was not looking for this opportunity. It literally knocked my door, said, hey, there is a position at Microsoft US. Do you want to apply? Sure.
There you go.
But why I felt so confident? Because I've been doing my homework. I was always ready for something big to happen. And when it happened, I embrace, right? And it has been like this my entire career. When I changed from an individual contributor to a manager, I remember my manager at that time say, hey, Yuri, there is a manager position open. I think you should apply. And I was like, sure, I will. Well, why? Because I was already building these necessary skills to make the transition. Mm-hmm. So if you want something, don't wait to get ready when you see the opportunities, because that's too late. Mm-hmm. You have to always be ready to perform at your best so that when the opportunity comes, you are going to apply and you're going to get it. Right? So I think that the readiness needs to be something that you need to practice every day. Even if you are in a position that you like, continue to push yourself because you don't know what's next. And maybe the next move is towards the things that you are learning. And I really don't like when people allow themselves to stay on that comfortable zone without stretching. It's great. I mean, no problem there, but nothing magical happens there. So you have to always keep pushing yourself, even if no one is asking. It needs to be on you, right? I always tell my directors that, hey, you own your career development. I'm here to help you. But if you don't take actions and pursue, I cannot even help you. So it's on you to establish a plan, and then I will help you to execute.
Oh, there's wonderful boss things there that you're talking about. So any of you who are bosses, are you listening to some of those things? Those are great ideas. And you said have a disciplined plan.
Right.
Have a disciplined plan. So many things that are going on in this world. I want you to, audience, take a look at his book. Again, I'm going to pull it out here, Building a Career in Cybersecurity. It is a ever-growing field. Well, talk to us just a second about ever-growing field. In technology, what percentage of opportunities are there now that maybe they weren't in the past?
Well, let me rephrase this a little bit even deeper, because for the past 2 years we have a lot of layoffs in the information technology world, right? The big techs lay off. Right. A lot of people. The past 2 years has been really readjustment, and cybersecurity, despite all the layoffs, not only is still growing but still very stable. So if we look at people that lost their job, the minority are in the cybersecurity field because there is a huge demand. Mm-hmm. There is a huge demand for professionals that know this subject. So it's a very secure place to be, not only to grow, but stable when it comes to job.
That is important. Stability.
Stability, yeah. But challenging, right? It's very important that people understand where they are walking to, right? It's cybersecurity is a big field, and this is one thing that I clarify in the book. Many times when we are talking about cybersecurity, people say, I want to go to this field. I say, okay, but in which area of specialization? Because saying I want to work with cybersecurity is almost like saying I want to be a doctor.
Right.
So which specialty you want? There are so many roles, so many types of jobs that you need to sharpen your skills according to the job you want.
Well, I mean, I have no desire to go into cybersecurity, and yet you are telling me all these fascinating things. I am going to research it a little bit just for the fun of it.
Read the book, yeah.
I hope, audience, you have enjoyed this because there's a lot of opportunity in the field. And how can we get in touch with you so that maybe you can guide people in helping them do that?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn, Yuri Diogenes. If you search for Yuri Diogenes on LinkedIn, I'm there. Or just put linkedin.com/Yuri Diogenes. On X, Yuri Diogenes as well. Those are the two main ones that I use professionally. And all my books are at Amazon. So there is a Amazon page there with all the books, including this one.
Well, he's easy to reach, so reach out, audience. Who knows? You may have a whole new career transition. Yuri, I want to thank you so much again for being on this show.
Thank you.
Who knows? 2 years from now, 1 year from now, 3 years from now, you may come back and have 10 more books. I wish you all the best with this one.
Thank you
and
very
again, let me hold it up. Here it is. Building a career in cybersecurity, the strategy and skills you need to succeed. So stay tuned just a minute, because you know I always end with a little philosophy or whatever, my Valerieism. Here it is today. It is, come to every situation not with your knowledge, but with your ignorance, and ask questions. I love that.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Come to every situation not with your knowledge, but with your question, with your ignorance. And I chose it because, Yuri, I find so many people today seem to know everything about everybody and everybody about everything. And it's like, okay, well, I can't teach you anything. But that mindset of just being open and asking questions. I even had a gentleman one time tell me, Valerie, don't ever hesitate to ask me, because I was saying, I'm sorry I asked you so many questions. He said, don't ever hesitate to ask more questions, because that's honoring to me. And I'd never thought about it that way, Yuri, that when I ask questions to you, it's honoring to you. So, audience, don't ever be afraid of asking questions. And that's it for now. And listen up, please. If you enjoyed this show, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button. That tells me that you're enjoying the show, more so if you make comments. So in the show notes, go down and write a comment of what you got out of this show. That lets Yuri know and me that it was relevant. Until next time, stay authentic. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening. To receive Valerie's voice, free monthly leadership tips, and to learn more about her leadership programs and coaching, visit her website, valerieandcompany.com. Next week, we'll be here again to inspire, engage, and equip you with teachable points of view from successful leaders who have been doing it right. Until then, lead authentically.